Hi, welcome back. My name's Jamie. I'm the founder of Jln Life Now, and this reading's for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of October 2025. Okay, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the month of October 2025. Okay, I'm going to discuss a few things before I get into the cards. Number one, there's a full moon October 6th in the sign of Aries, your sign. If it's your rising, it's your first house. Okay. And this started with a new moon that took place in March. It was actually an eclipse. And again, it took place in your first house. And, during that time, you may have wanted to find out who you are, right? Your identity, how you see yourself, how others see you. Your physical body, your appearance, right? Your instinctive behaviors, your personality, right? Your natural demeanor, the general way that you approach life, right? Like starting something new in those areas. And then around June, in the sign of Cancer, you may have had some type of emotional tension. Like something happened around that time that had to do with what you wanted to start or what you started. Okay. And it may have at that moment either had you questioning, right? I don't know, what it is that you stood for, your physical body. Maybe, for some of you, it had to do with, having something happen at home, right? That took you away from you, right? Of what you were searching for because you had to take care of something in your family or your home or something like that. Okay, and now here we are. It's the full moon. And this is the time where you shed light to the things that you've learned about yourself, right? The things that have worked, the things that don't work, right? So it's about releasing what hasn't worked in the past 6 months, right? That you've discovered, or moving forward, right? Or expanding on the things that you have learned. Okay. So that's a huge component. Okay. That's in the beginning of the month. And then towards the end of the month, right? But also on the full moon day, Mercury enters Scorpio, your 8th house. Okay. It has to do with how you transform. And basically, what you're communicating, thinking about, right? The ideas that are happening is what you think or want to be, right? What you need in intimacy, right? Like what that looks like for you. Maybe communicating it with your partner. Maybe even understanding on a very, very deep level what it is that you need and then communicating with it. It has to do with your shared resources, with anything having to do with anything taboo or secrets, difficult conversations, difficult topics, shadow work, power and control, those areas, right, in your life. And communicating, again, ideas. It's about the way that you think, right? Your mind, your thoughts concerning those areas. Okay. And then at the end of the month, on October 21st, you have a new moon in Libra, right? The opposite sign from you. And that's your 7th house. And that has to do with committed relationships, right? It has to do with romantic or business partners, with contracts, legal matters, agreements, negotiations, anything like that, right? The 7th house is the mirror, right? It has to do with mirrors. So it says it talks about what you attract in others and how that's reflected back to you, right? And taking that information and moving forward with it, right? So again, because in 6 months, you're going to reflect on all the things that you've learned, right? All the images from looking at yourself through partnership and understanding where it is you want to change or expand or move forward. Okay. And then in January, Um, in January, it's in your 10th house. Okay. In January, what you started in March, right? The new moon of self, right? There's a ending of that storyline, right? And it has to do with your 10th house, right? So understanding or asking yourself how it is that people see you, right? And that cycle of this is how I see myself that started in March, and now coming full circle, like how people see me, like what it is that I want to do. And you get closure because you're one step closer to understanding that, because at the end of the day it all comes together, because how you show up for yourself is how you should show up for the world, right? It's the same thing, or it should be the same thing, right? Because it brings you one step closer. But then at the same time, right, during that same exact time, you're gonna run into maybe some emotional tensions that have to do with what you started in the end of October now, right? That has to do with partnerships. So there are some tensions, and it just means that there's going to be a different way of looking at things, an added way of looking at things, maybe something taken away, depends. Okay, so basically those are like the major cycles happening in October. What a month. October is beautiful. It's almost like what you've worked for up until this point, like you can actually see it, right? You can harvest it. And sometimes the harvest is good, right? All this work that you've put in has really paid off, but other times it hasn't, right? And I guess that's where it would be frustrating, but still though, right? There's lessons to be learned, and I think there are things that have to be remembered, right? That even though you may feel like it's a lost season, it's actually not. Okay, this is Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, October 2025. Let's see. Okay, so for October, it's interesting because this has to do with a relationship that has ended, right? Again, whether it's romantic, whether it's business, but it's a relationship that meant something to you, right? Therefore, you were heartbroken. What you don't realize is that there is something better, different, waiting for you. But you're so concentrated on this pain that you don't see it. Okay? You're also letting people's toxic talking, right? Gossip influence you, right? And because of that, you're not healing, right? You're allowing people to get into your head basically through gossip, right? And gossip are things that have nothing to do with you, right? Have nothing at all to do with you, but you make it a part of you, right? So now you have thoughts that don't even belong to you in you. That's why gossip is like, it doesn't make better or worse your life at all, right? So leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let it go. Don't get caught up in that. Because again, you're not allowing time to heal, right? What it is meant to heal. And it's not necessarily time that heals, right? And yes, it's time that, in essence, right? Because here's what happens. Time allows you if you put effort into it, right? The ability to work through your pain, to work through your trauma, right? Because if you do that, then time, right? At the end, you learn this lesson, you've released this pain, you're beautiful. But let's say that you didn't, right? Let's say that during that time, what you've done is repressed it, right? You went and you like put it in the back of your head and you didn't deal with it, right? Then that later on catches up to you, right? So then you carry weight. But time, in essence, yes, if you allow it to, and if you do the work, it does allow you to heal and release by learning the lesson. Okay, so that's the most beautiful thing. At the basis of all this, right? These things are happening because it needs you to understand your true strength, right? Your courage. The fact that you have the ability to control, right, your emotional body and your physical body with your thoughts, right? So you don't have to react. You can respond to every situation. And you have that. And you have to trust yourself. Knowing that there's times where you want to lash out, right? You want to react, bro. Like you want to be the damn warrior, but it's asking you not to. It's asking you to like sit, right? Sit and contemplate and understand what is happening, right? And when you respond, right? You respond from a mature, level-headed place, because that's what this is all about. These cycles that are happening in your life right now have to do with showing you your inner strength, right? And that comes in the form of thoughts, right? Your mind. You control your mind, you control everything, right? Inside of you. You have no control on the outside world. You can't control anything but yourself, okay? And it's asking you to take all the time, resources, and energy and work on yourself. Okay? Because that's the only place where you have control. It does talk about like leaving. There's people involved. So there's someone that's connected to what. Okay, here's the thing. If it's your parents, so let's say it's your parents, right? Let's say you're heartbroken because your parents separated. Your parents are getting divorced. There's a split, right? That brings heartbreak. But what it shows me is that the person that needs you physically would be the female, right? It's the mother figure and the nurturer. Now, there are times where these roles are reversed, right? So it'll be the male, the father, whatever. But the person that needs you is the person that has been the nurturer, has been the provider, right? They play an important role in your life, in your physical environment, okay? There's something that you want to start, whether it's a new relationship, a new business, new connection, something is being presented to you. Something is being given to you, right? And you can trust this thing. Now, it's not guaranteed, right? You have to pay attention. You literally have to pay attention because it's going to come to you, and it's possible if you put the effort and the energy into it, yes, it becomes yours, right? And it tells you that this thing that comes in is solid, belongs to you. No one's going to take it away, okay? It's slow and steady, right? It's going to take a while, but it's yours and it's grounded and it has good roots, okay? This month, I need you to start thinking strategically, right? And get that right and wrong, right, out of your thought process. And ask yourself, if I do this way, what happens? If I do it this way, which is probably something that maybe in the past I wouldn't have done that way because it seems a little like shady, what would happen? If you think the results would be beneficial, right, to others, then consider it, right? What it's asking you is to look at alternatives, even if they don't seem, correct, right? There sometimes you have to go through the back door is what I'm saying, in order to do the best good, right? The greater good. Okay. Also, I need you to, for some of you, if it has to do with contracts, read the fine lines. There's something in the contract that, whether it was done purposely or not, by mistake, whatever. The point is that read the fine print, because there might be someone trying to sneak in some stuff. Okay. So just pay attention, be aware. That's all. Okay. If there's something that you value, keep it close to you, because there's somebody else that wants it. Okay. Some of you want to go on vacation. Oh, that's a big thing, right? You're like, I'm done. I want to go on vacation. I don't care. Like, I just want to be away. It's asking you not to put your thoughts there. Why? Because in the process of you thinking about wanting to be on vacation, you forget about what's happening right now. And it needs you to pay attention, okay? So that will come. Your vacation will come. Your bliss will come. The party that you want to be invited to will come. The wedding, right? There's an invitation. There's an invitation that you want. You want to go to a party, but like the invitation hasn't been sent out. They haven't invited you yet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you're meant to be there, you'll be there. Okay? Ask yourself, why is it that you want to go so bad? Why? Do you feel like, you're not part of the group? Right? Okay. Why do you feel like that, right? Because if these people are people that love you and honor you, you shouldn't feel like that. It shouldn't even be a question, right? You should feel so comfortable with these people that you say, hey, I think you forgot my invitation, right? Because if there's that much love. If there isn't, babe, let it go. Let it go. Okay? But it comes if it comes. And it's up to you at that point on whether you or not you want to go. Right? So don't put energy into that. Put energy into everything else. Okay? This month, middle of the month, you're gonna sit down and there's going to be a moment where you're going to question if everything that you have done up until this point has been worth it. Because what you're probably going to see is that you've put in so much effort and very little reward. Okay? And one of the known laws, rules, whatever you want to call it, is that in life, what's meant for you is not supposed to be super hard, right? It's supposed to come with ease, right? Excuse me, sorry. And think about that. Because what I'm saying is like, are you pushing for something that's really not meant for you? Not that you can't do it, right? Because you can do whatever you want to do. But is there something else or another way that's so much easier? You don't have to put in so much work and still get the results that you're getting, right? So finding an easier way, right? Work smarter, not harder, right? You're going to something about that in the middle of the month. At the end of the month, there's a huge life cycle that turns, okay? It's beautiful, right? Depending on where you are, what you've worked at, it's like the turning of a major cycle in your life. And you've been doing the work, you're rewarded, right? If not, doesn't matter. You still have to turn around and figure out what it is that you've been doing, right? And fix it. But it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous this month, okay? Wheel of Fortune at the end with the Strength card, right? They're major players. They're definitely major players. It talks about like cycles of self, cycles of control, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about controlling anything that's external of you, because you can't, but it is about controlling everything that's internal, because you could, right? So that becomes like a theme. Let's see if event, situation, something that's being highlighted for this month. All right, my love. So there's big success, right? If it's you, there's a problem. There's a problem that you've been having, a situation that you have not been able to find a solution. You do this month, okay? And it's a beautiful solution, because it's just time, right? So if you've wondered, like, okay, so why didn't I get it before? Like, why couldn't I find this last month? Because it could have really helped me. Actually, no, right? It helps you now. It's major now. So it's saying, like, yes, a problem that you've had, you do find a solution, and it's a beautiful one. You're rewarded. There's a reward, okay? There might be a woman involved in this, okay? For some of you, like, if you guys have wanted to purchase a house, the keys come. There's a beautiful bouquet waiting for you in the entrance. Okay, but there's a gift. There's definitely a gift. Okay, someone comes with keys. Someone comes with keys. Sometimes this has to do with like deep knowledge that you've been asking for. Okay. Dove, take a leap of faith. Okay. Yeah. Because it's going to seem scary, right? Even like this new relationship, if it's a relationship. For some of you, like, don't worry about an engagement. There's an engagement, and you're sad over that because you thought that this relationship was gearing towards an engagement, right? Like, this person was going to propose to you. And it ended up being like, no, damn, like, I seriously have done so much work, put in so much time in this relationship, and damn, like, this is what I get. But again, ask yourself, why have you been putting more than the other person? What is it about yourself? Do you feel like you're not worthy enough? Like, you know, like, find out like why those patterns are there, okay? Subscribe, please, like, comment. It's going to be an amazing month. Yes. There are difficult moments. There are moments where you're going to question everything, but that's okay. That's okay, right? That's what you want. That's how you grow. Okay? Like, subscribe, comment. Love you guys, and see you next month. Bye.